Okay, so um, someone asked me for some advice. Actually, a couple of people asked me for some advice on how to buy cryptocurrency. So this video is going to be a short video to orientate yourself, just to navigate around, so you're familiar with what it is, what to do, get you started real quick. All right, let me just switch this over here. So hopefully, you see my computer screen. So I guess we'll start with Bitcoin. It's well known, and also I'm just going to pull up Ethereum because lots been asked about Ethereum also. So drag that over here and put Ethereum here. So okay, so Bitcoin was the original cryptocurrency. It came out around 2009, just after the banking crisis. An unknown individual using a pseudonym basically released the code, built the network, other people joined in, and I think 7 or so years later now, 7 or 8, it is the largest cryptocurrency at the moment, followed quickly by Ethereum. We'll talk about Ethereum in just a second. CoinMarketCap.com is a great little website. It's developed over the years. What it does is it quickly shows you the so you can see the whole market cap of the cryptocurrency market. Market capitalization for those who are not in finance. So really, market capitalization is the amount of money essentially flowing around the system. So everybody holding Bitcoin at this price, when you add it up, it roughly comes to about this here. It comes to this. That's what it should do. So this particular list is sorted by market cap, and of course Bitcoin leads that there. But again, Bitcoin has a 7-year head start on the likes of Ethereum. So Ethereum was basically born out of this frustration felt by some developers in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's very has a sort of anarchist philosophy, I believe, sort of, the opposite to centralization, so decentralized, autonomous, they're totally different to what the current financial banking system's like. It's pretty centrally controlled, central banks and stuff. So Bitcoin is the opposite in that. So you have a lot of that kind of minded individuals within that community. And it shows in the code base as well. So for example, if there was some kind of hack, for example, the Bitcoin developers will not change the code to get you your money back, essentially. That is one of the philosophies behind it. It's censorship free in a way. But there was limitations with the technology itself. It's become very, very slow. So typically, all these cryptocurrency, the technology behind that, they're blockchain, also known as distributed ledger technology. It works with what's called a consensus algorithm. So each node on the network comes to a consensus, essentially what the truth is of that network, and it's very hard to change anything that's been written to this distributed database in a way. And that's the attraction, is that we can create digital scarcity now through cryptography. And with the case of Bitcoin, it doesn't show you on this page here. It shows you the supply. Maybe if I click into it, let's show you. So there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins generated ever in the history of Bitcoin. We're currently at what was it, 16 million there a second ago. Let's see. We're currently at 16 million. I'm not going to go, again, there's 21 million there, so we're creeping up, and more new Bitcoins come into circulation through the network itself. So it's built into the network a kind of reward system, and all these computers that make up the Bitcoin network can participate in generating new blocks, and that they do it through a process they call mining, and not like traditional mining in the ground. This is digital, and then it works by computing some hard calculations, and those with the better computing power, and a lot of it, are able to get the rewards a lot quicker than others. And essentially, they generate what's called a block. That's where the name blockchain comes from. They create this block every 10 minutes, essentially, by basically doing the calculation and getting it right. And it's roughly about 10 minutes. And what happens is, if there's more miners, the algorithm is aware that there's more miners to do the work, and what they do is it makes the difficulty of the calculation harder. And if less miners, less nodes are on the system, again, if it changes the algorithm itself to make it a little bit less difficult to generate a block, so it keeps this 10-minute confirmation time of a block approximate. And that's essentially Bitcoin. And all the other blockchains work in a very similar way. Different parameters, different metrics. So we looked at Ethereum. So Ethereum is coming up to its second birthday, and it has a different consensus algorithm to Bitcoin, and you're able to generate blocks, new blocks, confirmation, and the blocks contain, I missed that point, each block in the blockchain contains the transactions of the previous 10 minutes in the case of Bitcoin. With Ethereum, it's anywhere from like 12 to 16 seconds per block, compared to Bitcoin's 10 minutes. So normally on a Bitcoin network, once a block's generated, it has to be confirmed by other nodes on the network. So roughly it's 6 confirmations and you're good with Bitcoin. With Ethereum, it's very quick to generate a block, so your transactions are captured in that block and put on the blockchain secured relatively quickly. So the ability to transfer value, transfer units of currency within Ethereum is a lot quicker than Bitcoin. And it's only been 2 years, but what happened with Ethereum was some of the developers who contributed to Bitcoin so there's better ways to do things here. We can do more than just digital currency. So they came up with Ethereum. And essentially Ethereum is a blockchain platform, very much like Bitcoin, in the sense that you have a unit of currency on there, and they call it ETH, ETH. Symbol for Bitcoin is BTC. So their unit of currency on Ethereum, ETH, is what you use to send back and forward to people to pay for things. And what Ethereum does differently to Bitcoin is you have the ability to create on top of that platform new kinds of applications, and also this concept of smart contracts. And a smart contract essentially is a contract that's written in code, essentially, and it has events that can be triggered. So you can create this essentially this application that runs the code of it, actually executes on this particular blockchain platform across all these nodes in the network at the same time, or more or less the same time. So the concept of building applications now, applications that are resistant to censorship, fraud, or any third-party interference and downtime, is a revolutionary concept, because in software development we're always expecting at some point applications to come down or be affected. But now with smart contracts, with these decentralized applications, these dApps as they call them, are starting to create whole new innovations and innovative solutions on top of Ethereum. So we're seeing now new companies form their business model pegged to the Ethereum blockchain. Let me show you what else we have here. So things like a crowd sale. So if you wanted to raise funding for something, you can create a particular contract that allows you to accept donations sent via the Ethereum platform from other account holders to your contract in a one-to-one relationship. So there's no middleman there. There's no intermediary coming in and taking their cut, for example. Same with these democratic autonomous organizations. So you can create in code this smart contract that handles all the kind of actions of an organization, so like voting rights, being able to delegate a particular account within the autonomous organization as the trustee of the funds that come in, and how voting releases funds for a particular proposal and stuff. So there's really great ideas around the ability to create organizations that are democratic between the people involved and totally autonomous. There's no traditional IT infrastructure needed to handle it, because all the code is on the blockchain, and there's ways in which you can interact with that particular smart contract to trigger some of the functions, such as submit a proposal to the organization, things like being able to vote on a particular proposal or reject a particular proposal. So you can build in all these functions that can respond to real world events, and then based on those actions being triggered within the smart contract, it has the ability to move funds in the form of ETH or whatever else you want to attach to that particular contract. It may be code for an offline asset like a property deed or gold certificates, or what you can basically attach some real world assets to these smart contracts, and being able to move those that assets and then values from one person to another based on some real world events. So it's essentially taken out the middleman in a lot of different ways, and I think one of the most promising for Ethereum is the ability to create these new and decentralized applications that for the layman, you would interact with them as if you would interact with any website. You wouldn't even know at the back end it's interacting with a smart contract on the blockchain. And a good example of this here is this website here, registrar.ens.domains. And when you go to this website, you have the ability to bid for a new domain name with an ending .eth. So Ethereum, and I'm not going to get into it right now, but you have the ability to have domain names now that essentially the records for them are stored on the blockchain, and they have a mechanism that when someone searches for example, listmore.eth, because I own it, I haven't mapped the records yet, but if I do, it would be able to query the records for my domain and then redirect that person to my website, like a traditional domain name. So if you look here, let's say it's a bit bigger so I can see. Just refresh this here. So essentially, the front end of these new applications are via the web browser, much like a website. But the actual code behind this website interacts with a smart contract running on the Ethereum blockchain. And when I search and bid, I'll show you an example. So let's take something that's not bad. So let's say newforest.eth. Okay. So this, it's had a look. It said, this doesn't exist yet. So what I can do is then I can say, and the minimum value to bid on this is 0.01 ether, right? .eth, the currency within the Ethereum platform. So I could go here, say I'm going to bid the minimum. I'm going to hit bid, but first I have a little wallet, Ethereum wallet that's built into my browser up here. It's called MetaMask. Now, hopefully I can remember the password. Cool. So you see there's some transactions in here, and they say 0 ETH, but really what they are is 0.01 here. So essentially I'll go, right, I want to bid on newforest.eth, so I'll go bid. Okay, so it's not seeing my app. I still have a little bit of ETH in there too, which is not worth very much, but we'll count that at that. It's the first I've seen that thing. What I'm expecting to see here. So it doesn't seem to be recognizing my shooting. So essentially, what I'm trying to show you here is this website traditionally would be interacting with code running on a server, possibly a database somewhere in the back end, maybe connecting to several different web services, essentially. So if I opened it here, yeah, the point, not sure why that, because that account is actually there. Not to worry. The point I was making is this. So when I basically hit bid there, what I would have done is it opens up my wallet with a transaction asking me, do I want to accept or reject or cancel? And essentially, when I hit accept, it's taking some of my ETH and it's sending it to the smart contract that this new application is interacting with. So it takes some value or here or whatever domain name I'm looking for. It binds that in with the value that I'm sending in ETH, and it writes that into the contract as a bid against that particular domain name. That then triggers I think it's a 72-hour window. Yeah, in this particular contract, what it does, that triggers a 72-hour window then where other individuals can come in and send 0.1 or more to outbid me. So maybe it's working now. Let me see. Okay, there it is there. So that's what I wanted to show you. So I have 38 cents in there at the moment. It's not enough because I think it's looking. It does say here $3.22. That's probably because the gas limit here, and I'll talk about them in a second. The gas price is more. So if I reduce that, yeah, the transaction fee was ridiculously high there, right? And I'm paying $10 transaction fee that goes you up, right? So I'll take that down as low as I can, right? Right, get that there down completely. One of them is just trying to lower the price. I'll talk about gas in another second. That's the fuel essentially. So essentially that's how much I'm supposed to send. It's currently worth $3, but then the gas is like for the transaction. But essentially this new application's triggered this transaction, and I would hit accept. That would send money from my account to the smart contract behind this application, register my interest there. After the 72 hours on this particular contract, the contract goes into a reveal period of 48 hours where all those who bidded can't have to reveal their bid, and obviously the person that has the most wins this particular auction here. And then after that 48 hours, the whole process comes to an end, and the domain name then is registered to me being the winner. And then I can control that domain name. So as I mentioned earlier, I can add records to it. I could redirect it to do whatever I want with it then. And you can see some of the other domain names here. So look at Siemens.eth, purchased for 110 Ether, and a current price for Ether is and I do own this more, .eth. Just haven't done anything with it. Coin market cap. Here we are. So 342. So someone just purchased that domain for 110 ETH. They clearly wanted to win that bid. So that's really a little bit on Ethereum. There's a lot of information on their website, ethereum.org. What is it? Some documentation. The videos are pretty good, but some links as well. Their YouTube and stuff. Some of the videos from the developers and founders at the early stage of saying what Ethereum is about, their plan and stuff. Really worth watching some of those if you're interested and learn more about Ethereum. Some of them can be really technical, so if you're not a technical kind of person, don't go for the really deep ones. Some of the conference ones might not be as technical. Some of these DevCon ones. The founder, for those who are interested, let's see if anything jumps out. It's this little guy here in the green. His name is Vitalik. Vitalik is the founders behind it. He's only about 24, really smart kid. Any of his talks are worth a watch, and you'll get the idea behind it. Yep, so that's there. So definitely Ethereum. The price went earlier in the year. It was hovering. Let's have a look at it, and we'll go back to Bitcoin in a second here. So I don't think you need a degree in finance to see what's happening here. Alright, so January 16, it was just under $1, 0.9 in December, sorry. Right, January. Touched $1, 12th of January, so. Right, I picked up on it when it was in March, April, March, was it? I picked up on it when it was about 10 or 11, because around this period, because it went up to 14, went back down to like fucking nothing, and then it went up to 20 or so, not there anyway, 16, yeah, it was about 19, so it went up as high as 20, and then it went right back down again, literally. It almost sank, because there was the launch of the DAO was one of these decentralized autonomous organizations, which raised 150 million. There was some issues with the code, developers fixed it, but afterwards it looked like that was it for Ethereum, because it just went down, hovered, it wasn't doing anything at all, not exciting, no interest, nothing, no one was looking at it, it was just declining, look, right down to 7, and then it started to pick up 8, right, start of the year, January, and basically about this period here, when I had some, I was going, oh, if it only went to $12, it'd be great, if it only went to $12, it'd be great, and it went up, and it's like, oh, come on, and it went back down, and it was like, right, 12, sold it, what I had, kept some, of course, obviously, because I mine it, and then it went to, it was like 2 weeks later, March, and it just went from 19, dog. It just shot up to like, it shot up to 30 or so. I'm like, whoa, and then within March, like 14, 15, 16, up to 40, 17, up to 50. We dip, but essentially went up to 50 odds. Went up to 50 there, and everybody was like, wow, wow, wow. So when it comes back down, we'll get some, because it went from basically $10 for a long, less than that, it was 9, 7, 8, $10 for a long time. And when it went to 50, people were like, whoa, it needs to come back down, it's too quick, too soon. So it did come back down to 43, and then back up again, 50. And then people were like, okay, it has to come back down again, so it come back down to 48, boom, back up to 50, and then bang, it went up to 70. People were like, alright, when it goes back down to 50, then I'm going to get back in, and it didn't. It went up to 100 basically, and then people are like, oh, when it comes back down to 80, well, we'll jump back in, and it came down to 80, 88, back into the 90s. People are like, oh, it has to come back down to at least 70. Once it comes back down, we'll get back in. Bang, up into the 90s. And then literally from the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23, look, 193. It just went up. And everybody's been waiting from 50 to get back in, and it's just kept going up. So people are like, okay, when it comes down near 100 again, we'll get back in. Bang, 200 mark, 200, right up, 220. People are like, right, it has to come back down to 150. When it comes back down to 150, we'll get back in. Bang, 240, 260, hovering there, up to 300 odds. People are like, okay, it comes back to 200, we're going to get back in. Bang, 373, 391. Okay, so we're now at 342, and we're really early days in this technology. When you look at Bitcoin, right, Remember, Bitcoin had a 6.5 year head start than Ethereum, and it has nowhere near the capabilities and potential that Ethereum has, and the price is currently this. Right, so let's look at Bitcoin. So this is the all-time curve. Look what happened with Bitcoin when it started off. The first 2 years, 13, 14, right? It doesn't even go back. Why is it not going back any further? They only have data, it seems, up until 13, so I don't see. Nah, so it's only actually given us. Let me see if I can find another chart. So even what we can see here, look at it from January 14th, or 14. It was up there at what, $1,100, and it went from there to basically 233 over the year. Went from over 1,000 to 233. And people had it wrote off. It's down. Because remember, people were buying up here, and then they lost so much down here. But look, it plugged away, blip, plugged away. The trend here basically started to go up until very recently. Look at May 17 here. Only in the last month has this ballooned considerably. You know, when I was telling people at 130, and the reason why I was saying, because trying to get a hold of Bitcoin before, it was hard. You jump through multiple hoops when it was below 130. But as more and more exchanges came on board, it was easier to get, and that's why I picked up some. But then it went crazy. So several years head start, and it's got itself up to almost 3,000. And here we are, market capitalization very, very close, and this has a 6.5 year head start. So the projection is that over the next few months, and probably by the end of the year, Ethereum's market capitalization will overtake Bitcoin. And I think that's a light bulb moment for a lot of people who are fanatical or purist Bitcoiners. And they'll start to realize that Bitcoin is no longer the dominant cryptocurrency, and that Ethereum, who we know who created it, who we know who develops it, and have multiple enterprises now adopting it, Ethereum will overtake Bitcoin. So that only means that this price is going to go upwards of 2,700. Inevitable. But at the minute, it seems to be this inverse happening. So every time you see Bitcoin up, you see Ethereum down. And every time you see Ethereum up, you see Bitcoin the opposite way. Always see this kind of correlation. And I'll tell you what, another correlation I've seen, and I'll check it out and see, does it still happen? I'm not a finance person, so I can't say for certain what it is, but what I had recognized. So this part of the graph down the bottom is the volume of trading in a 24-hour period. So if I hover over, you see the very last one, 24-hour volume, 1.5 billion US dollars being traded within Ethereum, US dollar to Ethereum, in the 24-hour period. 1.4 billion moving across the network. That's pretty good. But what I noticed typically is, it's probably not a good example on this one. Let me see if I can do this one. I guess, yeah, so the correlation, what I've seen, and you have to put it onto the 7 and oftentimes the 1 day graph to really see this here. And for a period of time during the big spike in the last month, what you were seeing was as the volume of trading dipped, the price started to go up. But once it reached a sort of threshold and the volume started to turn the other way, the price changed as well. So here, and it just kept going up in stages, but the same thing similar happened when it was high volumes. The price started to come down. Or sorry, when the volume was down, the price went up. But as the volume of trading came up, the price came down. Volume went down, price went up. Volume came up, price went down. Volume went down, price went up. Volume went up, price went down. That's the correlation I see on the 7 and the 1 day charts typically, and that's what I look for personally. I look to see what way the volume of trading is going, and you can see that typically on this page. You can go to volume of trading here. I think it's trade volume, 24-hour volume, and Bitcoin's number 1. Ethereum's in here somewhere. Classic. So anyway, I'm not going to find it. Start anyway. But I look at the volumes of trading. Okay. Volumes. It's pretty low at the moment compared to the 1.5 billion we were looking at there. So I've noticed that the volume, when it's low, the price starts to creep up. The volume starts to pick up. Price starts to go down. Don't know why. As I say, I'm not a finance person, not an economist, don't know how that works. But that's kind of a correlation I've spotted myself. Alright, so let me get into how you do this here. So if you want to read up on Bitcoin, you want to know about it, here's the website, bitcoin.org. How it works, getting started, what you need to know, individuals, load of resources there. Right, get you started. For those who have been asking about buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, I have posted on my Facebook page. If you scroll down, if I haven't sent you this link, some of you have already sent the link to. But there's a great picture there. Alright, it's a future. So come on. Didn't realize it was this far back. This one here, get some Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you find this link has the invitation for me, or just ask me for an invite. Like some of you I've already sent it to, I'll just invite you. This way, when you do buy, I'll get $10 of Bitcoin, so will you, free, right? And the more people you add, all them little tens add up because the value of Bitcoin keeps increasing. So even though it's £10 or $10 or £7 now for us each, free, just for signing up and getting some, tomorrow that might be worth 10. The next day it might be worth 15 or 20. So like 5 or 10 of those from different people. adds up and grows over time. So it's a small amount now, but at least they all help. So Coinbase is US based. It's one of the main Bitcoin exchanges, so you can buy and sell real quick. You can buy Bitcoin, or you can buy Ethereum, or if you're interested in Litecoin, which I'm not. I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's as simple as picking whatever one you want. Say Bitcoin, picking your particular card, and saying how much do you want. I want to spend say 2,400 on Bitcoin, and I'll go buy. It'll debit my card right away. Done. Same with Ethereum. I want to buy that amount of Ethereum. It's going to get me that amount. I'm going to go buy, and it's instantly in my account. I can then go to my accounts, and I can see my ETH wallet. The main account is Bitcoin. In one word of advice, whether it be Coinbase or any of these other exchanges where you can buy or sell your cryptocurrency, never leave your cryptocurrency in an exchange. Or if you have to leave it in, don't leave a lot in there. So as you see, I have a little bit of Bitcoin in there, but I wouldn't keep my Bitcoin in there. I would get it out. And here's some of the referrals. So these two people here basically took the invite link I sent, bought some Bitcoin. I received some dollars, and so did they. So it's proof it is there. You do get some, but I never hold my whole Bitcoin or Ethereum holdings in there. Typically, I have a local wallet on my machine, like this. And even this, I don't keep all my Ether in. I just keep enough in here that I can transact with. What I do periodically is I back up. So I have different accounts. This is just my main transactional account. But different accounts, and what you can do is you can back these up. So what I do periodically is some of my higher value holdings, I will back them up, take the files, put them into Dropbox or USB key, and hold it offline until I really, really need it. And then I'll just keep a little bit here to work with. Typically, this is my mining account. So I only use this one here so I have a couple of miners and computers at the back that do these calculations I spoke about earlier, and I get some ETH every so often, every day actually, dropping into this particular account. And sometimes I'll when it gets to a certain amount, I will throw it over to Coinbase if I want to get some different coins, or trade Bitcoin, or use it to buy stuff, or I'd send it from here, from my local wallet, over to Coinbase. I'll show you how we do that in just a second. So if I go to my accounts, and I go to my Ether wallet, and over on the right, oh sorry, here it is on the left, I click wallet address. So I will take my wallet address here, I'll go to my local wallet, I'll say from this account here, send it to here, and send everything. Okay. Now I'm not going to send it right now, but essentially you would hit send and boom, off it goes. It'll show up in my Coinbase account, and then from my Coinbase account I could go to the buy sell page, go to the sell, choose my ETH wallet, which I just transferred some ETH into, choose my Euro wallet because you can get it in pounds, however you can't withdraw in pounds, it has to be a SEPA payment. So I'll just do it to ETH, and I'll say okay, I want to sell all my ETH and that would be whatever I had there. In this particular case, 1.35. I go 1.35, and then I'd sell it. Boom. Once the fiat money, the euros are there sitting in my account, then I can go and withdraw that easy. If I go to my euro wallet then, right, and I would go withdraw. There's one I did, 15th of May. A couple of days before it tripled in value. Like a dick, I withdrew to go away for the wedding, and if I just had left it 2-3 weeks, it would have tripled in value. So all you do is hit withdraw. My bank account, whatever amount you have in buying, withdraws to your bank account that's there in 2 days or so, 2-3 days. So Coinbase is the exchange where you can transfer ETH or Bitcoin into and out of through the send request. Right. So you can either go in your accounts, look for the wallet address, use that wallet address to send funds to, or you can send your funds to elsewhere. So for example, if I wanted to send it back to my local wallet, I would go to my local wallet, I'd take my address, and I would go over to here and I'd say, okay, Coinbase, send this amount to Bitcoin, if I had it, from this Bitcoin wallet, or it might be my ETH wallet or ETH or Litecoin, right? So for my Bitcoin wallet, send 500 Bitcoins. If I want to send a message, I could, and I hit send funds, and then a couple of seconds, bang, it appears here as a transaction that came in. So this is one I recently sent to, that's 0.1, that was for my Dominion, but it'll pop in as a transaction, and then your balance obviously will reflect that there. So let me show you how we get this here then. So definitely get the link here so we can both get some Bitcoin out of it. And once you're in Coinbase, you're going to probably need to obviously add a card there. You might have to validate your ID, something like that there, just before you can purchase. But the initial pain's worth it, because then you can just go and transact whenever you want. Right, so Coinbase, that's where you buy and sell instantly online. It's Muppet proof, let's put it that way. Over on, okay, so to get your local wallet, this is the new look it has, because the wallet is more than a wallet essentially. So Mist, there's Ethereum wallet and Mist. This is the Ethereum wallet here. Mist, by the same team, looks like this one. And essentially what Mist can do, it can load in the Ethereum wallet, but it can also use these new applications that I described earlier. So you can see this domain name one here at ENS. So these new applications run inside this new type of browser. So it's not only for your currency, your ETH holdings, but to access all these new types of applications. This is the new internet that's coming. So I would go along to here. I've just typed in Ethereum Mist released. Ethereum Mist releases. And you'll get to this GitHub page. And you can take essentially this one here. So if you scroll down, you see all the downloads here, right? Depending on which computer system you have, you're going to want to choose the right one. So for me, this is Ethereum wallet, not Mist. Its only useful purpose is to hold accounts where you can send and receive ETH, but it also has the ability to create these new smart contract applications that I spoke about earlier. You're probably not going to want to do that there, but here's an example of the source code for the contract, right? And this is my ability here to add some of my ETH to this contract. So it also has this smart contract capability, but its main function is a wallet. And once you have stuff in your wallet, go and back it up. Back up the accounts, back up the application data, put them in Dropbox or on a USB. Make sure they're password protected. Well, when you create a new account, it will ask you for a password. Don't forget it, or you'll not get your ETH again. However, the Mist, so Ethereum wallet is these ones. Ethereum wallet is these ones. I'm Windows 64-bit, so I took this one. But the Mist browser that also has the wallet functionality and this new capability to browse these new applications is the Mist one. Right, obviously Macs, Linux, Windows, 32 and 64-bit. So choose the relevant one for yourself. Once you download it, it'll look like it's a bit slow. All cryptocurrencies are essentially the same. So in this particular cryptocurrency, Verge, this is their wallet. I just downloaded the wallet from their website and run it on my machine. It did take a couple of hours to sync, but once it's synced and you're connected to the network, it means you can send and receive the currency. Send coins, receive coins, transactions. This is pretty basic because this is a new cryptocurrency, but it's small development team, not as big as Ethereum. Something I'm going to be keeping my eye on over the next 2 years, because if these can go till $1 each, then it's 19 grand right there. I'm trying to build this up till 100,000. That way, if it goes till $1, I'll have 100,000. So if I look, what's wrong with my machine? It's really slow for something. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so you see I have a couple here, Ethereum. So the latest one is this one. Comes like this is what it looks like. It's supposed to matter really of double clicking on Ethereum wallet. You may have downloaded Mist, more or less exactly the same, Ethereum wallet or Mist. Just double click it. If you want to put it somewhere useful, you might want to right click on it. And pin to taskbar or send to the desktop as a shortcut, right? So for easier access. Essentially, it's just a matter of running that. It'll load up. It'll load up something similar to this. If it's the first time, it'll ask you to create an account with a password. Don't forget the password. Make a backup also. and then you're ready to go. So you'll know what your wallet address is. From your wallet address, then you need to go purchase some ETH on the exchange. That means you're going to have to bounce over to Coinbase, or if you look at CoinMarketCap, this is Norway actually. Those are. So you might ask yourself, is Coinbase the only place? And it's not. It depends on your coins as well, whatever you want to get. I like to be diverse in my holdings, right? Because if you look at any kind of VC portfolio management, they have 10 investments, and 9 of those will probably lose money, but that 10th one will make more money than all of them put together and all their losses. And that's typically the way they look at it. So if you look at Bitcoin, it's been around, it's stable, it's secure, has some challenges at the minute around the ability to keep the scale, essentially. Basically, they can only fit so many transactions in each block, and there's so much transactions now that not all the transactions are getting captured in the first, second, third block. That means there's a delay on the payments, just because the network can't cope. Physically, the technology just can't squeeze any more transactions in, so therefore there's a big debate around scaling and block size. It's hammering Bitcoin at the minute. Ethereum, a lot more flexible. Ripple's seen some amazing growth for people, so it's went from less than a cent to 30 cents now. So if you were in there and you bought a couple of thousand or a couple of 100,000 when it was a third of a cent, and that's 30 cents, you'd be doing alright. 12 billion market capitalization, 12 billion floating around that system there. So Ripple, unlike the first two here, is totally private, created by a private company, targeted 2 banks, and they have this thing called Interledger, where they want to be a technology platform that you can trade between different cryptocurrencies. So that's kind of where they're at, and they're kind of marketed towards the traditional financial system, unlike these two. Litecoin was an early one after Bitcoin, and it was always seen if Bitcoin was gold, Litecoin was silver, and that's the way it was for years before Ethereum popped up on the scene. And as soon as Ethereum came on the scene with its capabilities, you can see the difference in the market cap. 31 billion in Ethereum, 45 billion in Bitcoin. Litecoin's trailing there at 2. Ethereum Classic. So I mentioned earlier about the DAO, this new decentralized autonomous organization that was created. It was essentially a smart contract, and you could participate in it. And essentially, what it was going to be used for was people could submit proposals on what the combined assets would be used for. So everybody could send ETH to it, and you got so many of the DAO tokens, as they were called. And what would happen is anybody who had contributed could vote essentially on any proposals. So if you had interacted with a smart contract, sent some ETH, you could then have rights to vote. And that means people could submit things that everyone else could vote on. And then once there was a majority for a proposal, funds would be released for that particular proposal, lent to the smart contract of whoever did the proposal. And in return, there was conditions on that there. So any returns would come back and they would go to those who voted in favor, essentially, of the proposal. So the way of lending some of this 150 million and backing projects that were worthy, and when them projects were successful and got successful. They return that value back with interest or whatever the condition of the contract was. Ethereum Classic says no. So what happened was the DAG there was something wrong with the code. It allowed a hacker to manipulate it and start draining the 150 million out of this particular contract. It was genius in terms of a hack. In response to that, the founder and developers from Ethereum and the foundation basically launched a counterattack, and they what's called in programming and software development is a hard fork. It's typically when you're developing software, you work on this kind of branch structure in source code terms. Each version could be a different branch essentially. Sometimes you have multiple branches in parallel development. One that's in production, one that's getting ready to go to production, maybe the one that's coming after that. So the software development term thing. But what happened was the developers and the founders of Ethereum says we can fix this, and the only way we can fix this is if we change the source code to fix that contract, and then basically start again. And then in response, they manipulated it in such a way that it only had one function going forward, and that was a withdraw function essentially. So you put in your wallet address of where you sent your ETH to if you had taken part, and it would send you back the ETH. You essentially got your money back, and that caused what's called in software a hard fork. So the code base literally split in two, and the developers and the founders and the majority of the miners and exchanges all went on the new chain. But the old chain was still there, and all the technology that built that was still there. And some of the developers says, yeah, actually, you know what? We disagree with you manipulating the code base. It shouldn't be allowed, much like Bitcoin. Whatever happens, happens. Censorship free and all that there. And people continued on mining it and continued on making that chain go. So we ended up with two chains, Ethereum Classic and Ethereum Normal. Now, anybody that had Ethereum in their wallet at the time of the hard fork would have the same amount of Ethereum on both chains. But at the start, it was only $1. It was really worth anything. Now they're worth 21 each, and it has 1.9 billion still circulating there. These two I see as promising. One is NEM. It's targeted towards banks. It's coming out of Japan. And this one, IOTA, this is an IoT platform. Okay. So NEM it's coming out of Japan. I think it's New Economy Movement it stands for. Essentially, it is a platform for trading, like derivatives and all those kind of financial instruments. I actually had a look at their white paper, and it was pretty good. And this IOTA one, so if anybody's seen my post lately, so IoT stands for Internet of Things. So it's really only starting now, and it's going to be everywhere. It's basically all these little internet enabled devices, anything from TVs to fridges to anything, and everything will be enabled to go online and talk to each other. So this IoT platform, and look at the price there, that's actually went up several cents. It was down at 30 cents. Now it's up at 53, and I keep meaning to get some. If you look on my desktop here, IOTA wallet. So I've got it. I just haven't got some, and I'm missing out here on this one because I see IoT as a massive future piece of technology to stem with us. And what IOTA is, their platform is it's to enable micro or nano payments between machine to machine, essentially, in this new era of Internet of Things. Whereas Bitcoin, the transaction fee is just too large. So look at the price. I've been meaning to get this for the last couple of days, and with it below, 60 cent there, that's going to go well over $1. It's going to sit It's not even $1 now, it's 50 cents. It was, as I said, it was down 30 or below when I seen it. This is going to go well over $1. Potentially a lot more than $10, because you look at their proposal, you look at their website, they have a good, clear vision of the future technology, and they believe their tokens will be the way in which these machines will transact with each other. Very promising IoT platform in cryptocurrency. And NEM, as I said, it's really to do with banking, how banks can basically transact together through these smart contract features. Mobile clients there, and why I like NEM as well, look at the price of NEM, 19 cents, right? 19 cents each. You can pick up a couple of thousand and real cheaply. And look at the market caps, 1.7 billion, 1.4 billion. Again, it's just a matter of going on to each of these websites. So if I take the Bitcoin one, once you download the wallet, their client is another word for them, you need to let that sync to the blockchain. You have to download the blockchain. It takes a couple of hours if it's the first time to do it. But it doesn't stop you creating an address. It doesn't stop you going on to an exchange, buying some Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then transferring it to that address, even while it's syncing. It can still happen, so don't worry about that. You can still transact. But it's just a matter of getting on. Let me see, where's the wallets here? Resources, probably under resources. Learning, charts, statistics, structures. Oh, wallets. Okay. Getting started. Right, inform yourself. Can't agree more. Read up. Never put anything you're not afraid to lose, because it's so volatile. I see swings of 20, 30, 40% back and forward. So don't be scared if you buy, say, $100 and you see it drop to 50 or 40. I wouldn't be concerned, really, because it's so volatile. Think of it long term, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And me, I'm looking at the technology platform and looking at the teams behind the technology. Do they have a good team? Are they credible? Do they have a vision? Do they have a roadmap? How far along that roadmap are they? It's a software project at the end of the day. Can that team deliver? Can they execute? Have they raised enough funds? All those kind of things I look at when I'm buying it. But essentially, if you go to any of these sites, you'll find somewhere where you can download their wallet, right? And then just get on to the exchange. Yeah, I wanted to show you other thing here. So if you go onto the coinmarketcap.com, and so I showed you Coinbase, for example, but let's say you wanted to buy IOTA, for example, the IoT platform. You say to yourself, well, I can't buy that on Coinbase, so how do I get it? You can go to markets, and you can see in this example, IOTA is only listed on the one exchange at the moment, right? So that means you have to open an account on that exchange. Now, this particular exchange, Bitfinex, if I remember correctly, I have an account with these, but it's a crypto-only exchange. That means there's no credit card payments there, there's no bank accounts. Basically, you transfer crypto in and you transfer crypto out. But what it allows you to do is send some Bitcoin in from Coinbase, from a Coinbase wallet to a Bitfinex wallet. It's one crypto exchange transaction. And then once you're on here, you have the ability two-factor authentication. I'm not going to do it right now. But essentially, once you're in there, you can pick whatever currency you want to get and say, I want X number of these. This is how much Bitcoin I have. It tells you how many you get, and you just do the execution. Once that's there, I would not keep my cryptocurrency in the exchange. I would always withdraw it to a local wallet, whether that's Ethereum, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Verge, whether it's IOTA. It doesn't really matter. So exchange, do it quickly. You can keep it there if it's a small amount, you don't mind. And the problem is, exchanges can be hacked. Exchanges can go out of business. And there's been cases in some accounts like Coinbase that just close people's accounts. So never take that risk, especially if you've more than a couple of £100 you don't want to lose. But if it's a 100 or so, or a small amount, you can afford to lose if things went bad. But I would always, once I'd done a transaction, I'd always do a withdraw from the exchange to another wallet. So send it in, deposit, withdraw, and I'd send it out to one of my local wallets. If it was a large amount, if it's something I'm going to not use in a while, I'll back it up, take it offline. But essentially, that's it. You can go to any one of these cryptocurrencies on the CoinMarketCap website. You can go to that markets one. So we look at NEM, for example, and we go to markets, and you've seen the IOTA one there was only on one platform, and it's already 50 cents. Remember, if that starts getting listed on Poloniex, like the biggest one, or any of these other ones, that opens it up to more new people, and thus the price goes from 50 cents to upwards. Okay, it's only on one exchange at the moment, which means it has a lot of potential to grow from where it currently is. But you see here all these other websites. Poloniex, I said, is the biggest one. Again, it's a crypto exchange. Just deposit crypto in, Bitcoin, transfer to whatever other one you want, transfer it out. So yeah, go to any of these websites. So Axis, Bitcoin, or Ethereum. You can also just go to their website. I showed you where to get the Ethereum one. You can just do Bitcoin. Bitcoin Core Wallet, essentially. It looks, colors are different to this, but this is a clone of that particular client, this wallet. Buttons are a little bit different. Colors are a bit different, but the technology it runs, it's basically the same. And when you want to receive a coin, you can create a new address. Give it a name, new address. That's just something I can remember it by. And it'll create you a new address up here, basically. I'll copy that address or QR code or whatever the case might be. But Bitcoin Core, download the core, pick your computer system, let it download, let it sync, get yourself an address, go buy some Bitcoin, transfer it to it, and just sit there and enjoy the ride. All the best.